Well, hello everyone. I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class. It is Tuesday, not Wednesday, Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, as I'm coming to you live, 11 a.m. And we're going live on Tuesday rather than Wednesday because tomorrow is Christmas Eve and we have family coming in. So what's the weather like here? It's actually quite nice, Susan was asking. And I went out for breakfast this morning. My parents are in town and we went out for breakfast with my sister and it was very nice for Minnesota. No frigid nose hairs getting all, frozen kind of thing. Anyways, I hope that you're all doing well, and I hope that you have good weather where you're at and good health. We are going to do paper pumpkin alternates today. Trisha, I think she was coming today, but I'm gonna scoot around here just to see if she's commented yet. I haven't seen her comment yet, but I think she was adjusting her schedule or trying to, so she could be live with us. She might not be able to. But if not, then we just ask questions to Rachel in hopes that she would see them. So if you have a question and I haven't answered it throughout the live, try to keep asking it, ask it at the end, make it in capital letters, put it in emojis. Yes, we're live. So if you're watching the replay, you can comment afterwards. Otherwise, log into your Google or YouTube account so that you can comment with us as we're going live. Yes, Terry says, of course your top matches the kit. This is one of my favorite shirts and I love it because of all the colors. They're some of my favorite colors, blues and greens and stuff. And the kit is blues and greens. It's crazy. Let me bring you to the desktop here. I am super excited about this kit. Here's a quick glance at what we're going to make today. We have a fun fold card. It's so cool, you guys. We have ways to double the kit. So we're going to make cards that we can double the kit with. We have a scrapbook page layout, and we have a cute little tiny box. So I'm going to set these off to the side, and we're going to start with this. This is the flyer that you get in your kit. If you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, every kit that you get comes with a little like a little insert like this that has visual directions so you know how to put together the cards as intended, the choreographed type of cards. Now we're going to take and do alternates with them because that's what Rachel does. I've been making alternates with these kits since March of 2013 when the kits first debuted, and I am addicted to kits. So I hope that you have fun watching what I have to share today. If you are not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can click on links in the description of the video to learn more and to subscribe, but you can also sit back and relax and see all the fun alternates that I make with the kit contents and apply those ideas to products that you already own. So some of you are subscribers, but you may have skipped this kit. Oh my gosh, why did you skip this kit? But if you did, same thing. Just apply the ideas, the tips, the folds, the techniques, all that kind of thing to supplies that you already own, okay? She's here. All right, awesome. So I'm going to sit back and relax a little bit because Trisha is here to answer our questions. She is my moderator. She's here to answer questions and to lead you in the right direction, give you links. So thanks, Trisha. Glad to see that you're here. Okay, I'm going to put that off to the side. And this here reveals our kit contents, just a third of them. This is only a third of the kit contents. So with this kit, you get to make 3 of 3 different kinds of cards. And you can see I've got all the card bases in here. I've got the layering pieces. I've got the beautiful envelopes. The envelopes tend to be beautiful every single time. So we cut into them as if they're designer paper. Other things that come in these kits would be the ink. Yes, you get a cute little ink pad. We call them spots, but I like to use my bigger pads when I do my alternates, so we'll be using that today instead. And I do have a link to this, but if you're a kit subscriber, you already have this color in your ink spot. They also give you some adhesives, so we have dimensionals in here. We have tear and tape. You get embellishments too. I'm going to be bringing in my own adhesives that I already own. I have tear and tape. I have dimensionals in 2 sizes. And I have glue, which I like to use in my precision tip bottle. Again, all these things that I'm listing right now are linked below. I use seal adhesive often. I also bring in extra tools. So when you're making the kits as intended, basically all you need is a scissors in order to put everything together. But If you're going to be doing alternates, you're going to need things like a trimmer. You're going to need, well, you don't need these things, but these are nice tools to have. Take your pick tool, bone folder. Mine is personalized with my name on it. And then I've also got extra little fun tools for different things like the Stampin' Pierce mat, the silicone sheet, the silicone brush. We'll be using some punches, some dies today. Okay, so let me kind of shove this stuff off to the side. I do want to show you this product, which I don't show that often. I should. This is from the Country Hive. It's a block caddy. It holds your blocks. And when you have paper pumpkin kits, the first block that you get is like this. You can fit 2 of them actually in the D slot or in some of these larger slots. So I have it filled with 1, 2, 3, 4 D-size blocks, a couple of these D-size paper pumpkin or kit blocks, and then I have a few B-size blocks and C-size blocks, but this is made to hold the variety of Stampin' Up! Blocks. So I just wanted to point that out to you. I don't think I have that linked, but Country Hive, you can go to thecountryhive.com and shop their products. Okay, so let's begin, shall we? I'm going to move these kit supplies off to one side. Again, this is a third of the kit, and I brought this in first because with a third of the kit, this is what I like to do. I like to do this with a lot of my kits. I like to take and separate out so that I've got a pile of supplies for one set of cards, a pile for the next set, the next set. So if your kit makes 3 of 3 kinds, I would have 3 piles. Does that make sense? With all the supplies to make those 3 different cards within. So we're going to take this set of supplies for our first projects, and we're going to double the cards that you could get from the kit. So instead of 9 cards from this kit, you could get 18 if you want to follow these directions. All right, so let's grab our first card base, and we're going to just cut it in half. These doubling the kits, the cards from the kit directions are actually very simple this time. Sometimes I make them a little more intense, but not too much. But we're just cutting this in half because here we have beautiful, beautiful designer paper. Now we're going to need to make a new card base. And for this, I chose the Secret Sea color. Now I know Night of Navy is the dark blue for the ink, but when you look at the flyer, and I think I have it right here again, when you look at the flyer, on the back side, it lists Garden Green, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock, Secret Sea, Shaded Spruce, and Bronze. So you could do, like there's 4 dark colors in here. You could do any of those 4. I just thought Secret Sea looked great, and I didn't have enough Night of Navy to do my card bases. We're gonna score 2 card bases at the same time, and then I'm gonna cut this sheet in half, and we're gonna have 2 separate card bases ready to go, okay? I'm glad you guys love the block caddy. That's awesome. Yay. These are your colors too, Janet? We got 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. So I'm bringing my cardstock in my trimmer, pushing it up to the top so it's nice and flush at this straight edge here, and I'm going to trim. Oh, I'm going to score. So we're going to use the light blade on the trimmer, the Stampin' trimmer, and we're scoring to put a crease into that whole entire piece of cardstock. And now half of 11 is 5.5. So now we're going to move this edge over to the 5.5 inch mark, and we're going to use the dark blade now, and the dark blade is going to cut it in half. So we have 2 card bases that are ready to go. This is an extra tool that you don't have to have, but I love it. It's called a bone folder, and I'm just going to add a little extra pressure on the edges, the folded edges of my cards, to make those folds nice and sharp and tighter. Now we're going to take these 2 bases and we're going to add them. So we're making these cards right here, okay? We're going to add them to the front of our cards, and I'm just going to go right along the 2 sides here. You don't need a lot of adhesive. I'm actually using probably more than I need, but we're going to determine what is the front and the back of the card. So when you have a folded piece of cardstock, if you can see both edges from one side versus the other, that is going to be the back side. Okay, I can barely see both edges here, so this is going to be my back. This is going to be my front, and when I lay this on here, I'm going to connect it. And I think I want to have this, I'm going to do dark side down. So I'm going to connect it edge to edge, and I'm laying this down carefully. And if I need to, I can, quickly pull it back up if I have to, but I'm laying it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and press it in place. Okay, you can also do like the stacking technique where you go like this. So I've got my adhesive on here, and this one's going to go this way. Checking the front and the back. I think this is going to be my front. So you could do it this way too, where you kind of have them right up against each other, and then you connect. That's another way of connecting your pieces together. There's so many different ways, but those are just a couple things that I do. Okay, all right. It's a beautiful kit. I totally agree with you, Helene. Okay, so we're gonna make this card first. This one's probably the most detailed of the two. That one's going to be this one, and then this one will be second. And what I'm using for that are all the pieces that you get for making that particular card. So I didn't even do a mix and match kind of thing. For this card, we used the piece that looks like this. We have a little strip that has some copper metallic foiling on it on the top and bottom. We also have this extra layer for stamping on. In case we make a mistake, we can flip it over, and that goes here. We have a vellum rectangle that's going to stick here. And then we have a couple accent pieces like this little guy here. And then we have a medium size of the 3 flowers. This is the card that receives the medium size flower. So we're going to put that down. So we have all of our pieces that would look like this, and they would go on the front of our card, but I separated them out. So I figured, well, this one could go over here along with a strip, and then we can have these pieces go over here. All right, so it's going to be pretty easy to do. We're going to stamp on this. Now here's the risk. When you are stamping onto a piece that has foiling, you got to get it right the first time. But thankfully, we have clear stamps. They're called photopolymer stamps. So these are our stamps that come in the kit. This is the one from my first kit that I opened, okay? So I'm going to use this one because this is well loved already. And we're going to do the Dear Friend. So you just peel the plastic off the back. There's like a stiffer plastic, and then there's that thinner one. And I'm going to grab the Dear Friend and the You Make Me Feel Loved. And I got something stuck to it, a little piece of lint. Pull that off. And I'm laying them down on my surface, on like a non-sticky surface. You don't want to put it on a glass surface or anything like that, but just something where, they can kind of slide around and relax. The stamps need to be relaxed before you pick them up. And then you can take your block, and I'm just going to move that one over. You can take your block and grab it. Okay, so we have that one mounted. For this one here, it probably fits a B-size block, so I'm just going to mount it like that. And we're ready to stamp. So we're going to take and open up our ink pad. Again, I'm using the larger of the ink pads, but you get the Night of Navy ink pad in your kit. Okay, let me zoom out just a tad. We're really close right now. So to get them to look like this, you can stamp on scrap paper first and kind of estimate, which is what I did. And so this is about 1/8 of an inch away, and this is about 1/8 of an inch away. So I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to hover above, making sure everything looks even left to right. And I'm about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of that label piece. And then I press, and I don't do a lot of rocking. When you're stamping, you don't want to do a lot of rocking. You want to just press firmly. And there we have that. And then we have got the Dear Friend. So we're going to ink that. And for inking, you just tap, tap, tap. You don't have to press really hard on our ink pads. And then we're going to hover that above and stamp it down. And it looks decent, right? It looks good enough. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie. That's what happens. Okay, so then we're going to take this and we're going to go like that, just adding a little adhesive to it. I've got my vellum, and I'm going to connect these two together and stick that down. And then we're going to turn that whole thing over. And this is where you can put adhesive. When you're working with vellum, you don't want to put adhesive where it's going to show through. Because if I stuck anything behind here, like you can see my finger, right? So you don't want to have adhesive behind areas that you're going to see. So we're going to take our dimensionals. And again, you get some in the kit, but you might want to, if you're somebody who does alternates like I do, you might want to invest in some extra dimensionals, adhesives, and things like that. Now we can take and peel this off. Those are the backings that go on the dimensionals to keep them from sticking everywhere. We center this. So I'm just gonna glide it right over the top, center it. And then I've got my other pieces, which I don't think, let's see here. We have, oh, here's the flower and here's that little branch. And we're saving these for the other card, right? So for this, I'm going to take my bone folder and use it in another way where I'm just kind of giving a curl, a slight curl to the edges of the leaves. And then I'm going to use my precision tip bottle, which I have taken multi-purpose glue and poured it into here because it just makes it easier for me to use. And we'll just tap it and get a little bit down there at the surface or the stem. This is going to get tucked underneath about there. We need to have room for our flower too. So we want to go a little further away than we would probably go, just so that we have room to stick our flower down. And I did put my flower on a dimensional too. So I stuck that dimensional on the back side and pressed it down. And it's going to press this vellum and this paper down a little bit, but it's still going to give you a very layered look overall. So there's that. You can see lots of layering in here, lots of shadows underneath. And then the last thing is I took those little accent pieces, used my bone folder, and here's the take your pick gummy tool at the end. I pulled off the old stuff and I cranked it again to get some new stuff out just right before the video. So now it's nice and gummy and tight. And we're gonna take and push and grab it. And then you're gonna stick that right in the middle of your card. Now we need an inside because the inside is dark, right? So I'm going to keep this open because I'm reminding myself that we have to finish that part, and we're going to do that with the envelope. But let's do this card really quickly. This one's very easy to do. We've got a C-size block now, and I'm going to grab the stamps for that, and that is the thank you. Grab our ink, Night of Navy, pick up our stamp, ink it up, and then we're going to stamp that right in the middle. I love photopolymer stamps. All right, there we go. How many of you got this kit? Shout it out if you got this kit. This one, we're gonna do dimensionals in a few different places. So I'm gonna flip these both over and we're gonna do dimensionals on the four corners of this layer, like that. Still waiting for yours? Kat is still waiting for hers. How many of you have yours and have been playing with it? But yay, I'm glad you got it. It should come soon. My kit is usually like one of the kits that comes, halfway between. I'm never one of the first ones. So when I get my kit, I will create with it as soon as I get it so that I can put my alternates out there. Last month, I think my alternates were shared on like the 26th of the month, but today is the 23rd. And sometimes I've even shared on the 18th. It depends on when the kit piece, the kit arrives. But all right, yay! I love it. Gypsonable. I love your YouTube name. She says she already has it. Yay, you already have it with you. Okay. So, and how many of you have already created with it? That's another thing too. Oh, I love that thought. So where was that? Oh, it just went past me. Oh. Okay, I don't have to find it later, but someone was mentioning that the copper foil paper would look really great with it. Yes, we do have copper foil, and I'm going to show you some copper foil that I'm using in a 3-pack for some other projects coming up, okay? So now you can see that I've got that layered, and there's a little lift to the sentiment, and then I've also got this layered, and it's ready to just stick right on the front of the card. And that is how easy that one is. So they give you a lot of pieces which allow you to change it up so that instead of having this multi-layered card here, you can have a less layered, but still a full card from 2 different pieces, okay? So there we have that. Now we need to do the insides of our cards. Oh, and do you see this too? Do you see that? That's because my card base was probably a little shorter than it needed to be. Sometimes when you cut, it's not perfect. So I just use like a long bladed scissors and I trim. And now it looks great. So we're gonna do the insides of that, and that's where the envelope comes in. So we're gonna grab one of the envelopes and our trimmer again, And here's what I like to do with my envelopes. I take and cut off a 1/16 of an inch. So I just hover over this dark little area of the trimmer. So I'm covering it up. And that's going to cut off a 1/16 of an inch from each side. And now you can open up your envelope and you can use it as designer paper. Now we're going to press that fold as flat as we can. I'm just using my fingernail. You could use your bone folder or something. We're just pressing that fold down. And I'm going to trim right on the fold. Normally I go either above or below the fold, but for this card, I want to get as much of this design as possible. So I'm going to trim on the fold. The trick is to have a very, very sharp blade. So I believe this is the one where I changed out my blade. So it slides right through very easily, but if you have a non-sharp blade, you're going to get a lot of, you're going to have problems cutting right on a fold, okay? So there we have that piece. We're going to cut this down to 4 1/8. So you can see I'm bringing it to 4 1/8, not 4 1/4, but 4 1/8, because it's going to layer on the inside of our card. Mezzocat is still waiting for hers. Okay, and then I'm going to trim off this side because it has this tiny little dot here and it looks weird. So I'm going to trim off that side instead, and I'm going to trim it down to 5 3/8. So now we have a layer for one of our cards on the inside. Perfect, ready to go. For this one, we're going to cut at a 1/2 inch, and we're going to remove that. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to cut at 4 1/2 inches. So I'm looking at this measurement now. So it gets rid of a little bit more on this side, but it makes it 4 1/2 inches wide now. And then I'm going to trim this rounded part off. And I'm going to flip it around and trim at 3 1/4 inch. So my layer on the inside is going to be perfectly like a 1/2 inch inward on all 4 sides for these 2 cards. So let's grab those. Let's put the trimmer off to the side for a minute. Okay, then we're going to add these on the inside, and you could use your multi-purpose liquid glue. You could use your tear and tape that comes in the kit. I like to use my seal because it's just something I've gotten used to. Seal is one of those adhesives that sometimes you don't like it at first, but when you get used to it, it works really well. For the inside of my card that looks like this, we're adding lots of leaves, lots of fun. Here, I'm going to get rid of this because it's dark and it's making it hard to see the border. So there is that layer. So a little bit of leaves, and then you open it up and you have this whole fun garden of leaves. I love leaves. And then this piece here, you can see when you add it to the middle, you've got that 1/2 inch border all the way around. And it's perfect. It's so perfect. Yay. Okay, next set of cards. So we have, remember we're doubling the cards. So for the next ones, you would do the same thing where you'd cut your card base in half. You cut your envelope down. We're going to go ahead and add those to the front of our card. And I'm going to show you the pieces that we're going to mix and match up, okay? So I'm going to set these off to the side for a minute. Let's grab oh, here it is. Here's the flyer. Okay, so for this card here, you're going to need the round or oval, not round, but round, oval vellum. You're going to need this piece that goes over the top of that vellum. You're also going to need this smaller oval that goes inside. And remember, they give this to you so that in case you make a mistake, you can flip it over and stamp here, and that way you're not stamping directly onto a foiled layer. But we're going to stamp on the foiled layer because they're see-through stamps and we can do it. Okay, and then we also have this little cluster here, and that is made up of the largest flower and this, let's see, here it is. This is one of my favorites. I wish they gave us a ton of these. And that piece right there. And of course we have accents too. I forgot to mention the accents. Did we put those? Oh, we did. Yes, I didn't forget to mention. Okay, so for this card, this is what I did. I took and cut my pieces in half. And then I said, well, this could lie by itself, right? You could have that by itself. And then this one could maybe, I don't know, be over here, or like, where's my finished one? Hang on. So grabbing my finished ones, hang on. Okay, But then I thought, no, I kind of don't want that big, huge circle-y vellum right behind this small piece. So I left that separately like that. And I brought this back over here. And then I brought these to that one. Okay, that's how I separated it out. And then I was like, but that's, I don't know, that's boring me to have this exact layer under here. It almost looks like the original. So I swapped it out with the rectangular piece from the third set. So that's where I put that, was here. Now, here's the finished cards put together, okay? So you can see I shifted this down a bit to make room for that big, huge, big, huge conglomeration of flowers and leaves, right? So I shifted this down. I stamped thank you. The little things you do mean so much. So those were stamped on here. Those were 2 separate stamps. The inside of that one has the leaves that are going this way. And then we have the same trick where this was up on dimensionals. This was stuck down flat to the card. This was up on a dimensional, but I put it down on the corner. So it looks like this and this are kind of like the flower is even higher up than this, but it's not really. It's just pressing down that corner. Stuck the copper little adhesive sequin in the middle. Very similar to that first set of cards, right? Okay, so that's that one. And for this one, when you stamp on this, thank you so much, you're going to adhere it to your vellum first. Then you're going to flip your vellum and this together because they're connected to each other. This is connected with dimensionals onto your vellum strip and it's centered. You're going to flip it over and you're going to see where those dimensionals are, where it gets covered, and that's where you can add more adhesive. And I just put seal adhesive back there and stuck the whole thing down. So stamp first, put dimensionals behind, stick it onto your vellum, flip your whole piece over, put the adhesive over the back side where the adhesive isn't going to show through, and stick it down. So you can see that this part here, this is not stuck down to the card base. So only the center is. And then I made it look like the copper circles were little berries. And the inside of that is still, is like that second piece from the envelope. So those 2 cards, pretty self-explanatory. Same way that I did the first ones. We're going to move these off to the side. Here's my pile. Okay, so then that leaves us with these 2 card bases, these 2 layers here, and we have a piece that can go like that. We have a piece that can go like that. And we have these things. So remember, this one came with the rectangular, let me grab that again, the rectangular layer, right? It was like this. It was going to be a card that looked like that, but we separated it out, swapped this one for the oval, stuck those 2 over there, and that's what I used for these last 2 cards. The last 2 cards, though, have a unique envelope. So I'm going to bring in the last 2 cards. Here they are. Bring in the last 2 cards. We're going to open them up first. So we still have that look, but this is the inside of the other one because I have a vertical card where I wanted the leaves. So for that envelope, you're going to take your trimmer. You're going to do the same thing where you cut off your 1/16 of an inch on each side. 1 and 2, so that we can open it up. And then again, you're going to press with your fingernail or your bone folder to get that bump of the crease to flatten down. Then you stick it right in your trimmer, lined up in that channel. Use a sharp blade and slice. Now this is going to become the piece that goes over here, same size as we talked about before, but this one is going to get cut differently. This one I cut to match the shape of the oval. So I measured the oval, which is 4.5 by 3 and about 3/8. So I took that 3 and 3/8, and I want to make sure I measured that right. Oh, measuring the other way. 4.5. 4.5 is first. So 4.5 tall. So that's going to bring it to here, and that is going to give you a small little, let's see here. Am I doing that right? Hang on, let me measure it again. 4.5. Okay, so it's going to give you a small little bit of fold here that you can see, but it's not going to be too noticeable. Okay, and in fact, did I cut it shorter? Oh, I did cut it shorter. Okay, I went a little shorter. Sorry about that, I lied. I went right up to that score line, I bet. Hang on. It's hard. I have a whole bunch of projects to share. I can't memorize all of these measurements. It's 4.25 inches tall. I was like, where's the score line on the other one? So we went 4.25 here, and then in this direction, we went to 3.25. Okay, sorry about that. I lied. So I think, yep, I used this side, 3.25. And the reason why I chose this half of the envelope versus this half is because here you can see like those leaves are more centered. If I were to cut it here, it's almost like things weren't even. So 3.25. And that was the measurement for this piece on the inside here. So you can see how I layered it. I first put these two together, stamped it first, and then I put them together, stuck them onto this vellum oval with dimensionals, then flipped the whole thing over, stuck my adhesive on the back side where the adhesive would not show through, so it's only behind this area, stuck the whole thing down on the front of the card, put that smallest little flower, sorry about that, forgot that guy, smallest little flower here on a dimensional with the centered piece there. And then the last card is right here. And I'm showing this one to you last because look what happened. It happens to all of us, right? I got a little smudgy mark there. So for the smudgy mark, you can take, and I'm going to pull these back in for a second here. You can take and add one of your little accent pieces there if you want to, but I also want you to note that if you're going to triple the kit, or double the kit, sorry, you're going to have to divide this into 3 sections, right? So this is how much you have normally for 3 cards, but now you have it for 6 cards. And so I couldn't add an extra one there unless I took it away from another one here. So I might do that to the berry area. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to fix it, but just be creative with where you're putting your little gems, and they can cover up mistakes. All right. We ready for the next thing? The next project is, and I'm trying to remember what I'm showing you next. I think it's a little tiny bag. All right. So I received a gift from a friend of mine, Jennifer Hill, at Backstage. And it's this cute little carton. It's like a little treat container that looks like it's got the milk carton fold, right? And so I pulled it apart, stuck it back together afterwards, but I pulled it apart to get the measurements. And we have those measurements right here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what they are. You're going to take your envelope piece and you're going to trim it to 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And to do that, let's see if we can do it with this one here. No, it's a little bit too, okay. I can do it with this one. Here it is. Okay, so, oh, no, I can't do it. You have to do it with a full one. Sorry, Rachel. Got to do it with the full one because the full one, you need to include the flat portion of your envelope. Where's my envelope? I'm going to grab, will I be able to use this though? I'm not going to be able to use this. I'm just going to have to show you guys because I don't have, oh, I do have enough pieces. Oh, good. Okay, so you can see here that this is including the score line down here. So the score line beyond that score is 5/8 of an inch. So when you're going to take this apart to make it your paper piece, right? You're going to cut it on the sides to open it up. You're going to do that to both sides. You're not going to cut in the middle. This time, when you open this up, you want that score line to be in there. And you're going to go to 5/8 of an inch with this little section here. So 5/8 is going to sit right here. And if that's hard for you to see, you can always take and fold on the flap. And that should give you a measurement at 5 inches. Okay, so this is at 5 inches here where the crease of the flap is. And then you can trim this. And that will give you that 5/8 of an inch little tab there. And then from here, you can see that you want to cut a piece that is 3 3/4 inches wide. And you can do that from any of the sections. It could be here, 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 wherever. So it's gonna go from the bottom to the top is 2 3/4. So you're gonna cut here with it all open at 2 3/4 of an inch. And then again, figure out where you want to have your other cut. It's up to you because you have plenty of pieces here and you just want to cut it at 3 3/4. Now, when you're done with that, you're going to score at 1 inch. So that's where your score mark goes, 1 inch. And then you're going to flip it around. And here's your 1 inch on this side, but you're going to shift it over to 1 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so we're adding 5/8 inches there. So 1 inch, 1 5/8 of an inch, and score. And then you're going to shift over a whole inch. So instead of 1 5/8, we're going to go to 2 5/8. And you're going to score again. And then you're going to go another 5/8 inches over, which will take you to 3 1/4. So that's here, like that. And then you should have a little 1/2 inch left here. After you've done that, you're going to trim out this bottom corner here because this is going to become your tab. This is your 1/2 inch section. It's going to become your tab. And then you're going to cut straight, straight, straight to get those pieces to separate. And then what I did with the bottom portions here is I mitered or angle cut to get these to look more like triangles so that they're easier to connect the box together. These I left as rectangles. These I made more like kind of a trapezoid looking thing. And I also did that to this tab here. I cut at an angle on the top and bottom. Now we take and fold on all of those creases inward, and we're gonna grab our adhesive. These little things are so cute. What are you gonna put in this, right? A lot of you are probably thinking that, it's so small, what could you put in here? I'm gonna put adhesive right on this tab here. So it's just in that little area. Fold it on the second score mark, fold this one on that mark there, and then you can take and press back and forth to make sure that it will collapse evenly in both directions. If it doesn't, just use the bone folder and force it. And then we're gonna press these two tabs inward. We're gonna put a little bit of adhesive on one of these tabs, and you'll wanna pick the one that's in the back. Sorry, hang on a minute. This is the back of it, because this is where they connect. So this one's gonna overlap this one so that your seam is also towards the back. All your seams are going to the back. So we're gonna put adhesive on this piece, fold it, make it even. So what was in the one that she gave me were those little tiny mini Tic Tac containers. Have you seen them? So stinking cute. I gave mine away, so I no longer have that, but you could put a pair of earrings in here. You could put, other little tiny treats and candies. You could put, I don't know, coins in it, but something small and sweet and thoughtful. Then after you've done that, you can punch a couple holes, and I use the punch pack. This is the whole punch pack, the 1/8 inch one, and I punched a couple holes and then used some linen thread, just some linen thread that I had sitting around. And you get this often in past kits, by the way, so you have extras if you need to, and you can grab that, and then you come up with, oh wait, then I did one more thing. I used scrap. So you see all this extra scrap that you get that you punch things out of? So you can take and stamp on a portion of that. I hope we have time for that fun fold card. I'm trying to go super fast, you guys. The friend, I gotta find my friend stamp. Hang on. Here it is. So you're gonna clean this off. We're gonna clean that off so that we're just, we actually don't have to because we're gonna trim it. So we're gonna ink it up. We're gonna stamp it down. Just stamp it onto your scrap, and then you can take and cut. And you're gonna cut straight around, just kind of a rectangular shape. And you'll do that on all 4 sides. And after you've done that, you just take and stick it on the front with a dimensional, and you get this cute little tiny box. it hurts you to cut up beautiful envelopes. You don't have to. You could do this with designer paper instead. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna put that over with the finished projects and move these off to the side. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you the scrapbook page and then we're gonna work on the fun fold. And if Trisha has to leave early, I'll understand. But I really, really wanna show you this fun fold. Okay, let me show you the scrapbook page. So this is the design that I came up with for scrapbooking this month. I do a scrapbook page, usually a layout with every kit. This time it was just a page. That's all I had time for. It's the holidays. Sorry about that. But I can totally see making this same page for the opposite side. You just mirror it, right? You just make the same thing again, only flip everything in the other direction. So, and then instead of putting a second title, you could do something else there, like a cluster of flowers or whatever. So here we have our one-page layout. What I did here is used a full card base. So I took the card base that looks like this, and I cut off I cut at 3 1/4 inches on both sides of this fold line here. That's what I did first. Okay, you could cut it down the middle if you want to too, and then cut a 1-inch strip off each side. This is 1 inch, 1 inch, and this is 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. Either way, I got all 4 pieces from this. Then you're gonna take that beautiful paper that's wider and you're going to tear. And when you tear, you expose the white core of your paper. Let's see if I have, I'm gonna show you with this. I'll show you with this piece here. Okay, I'm bringing a strip of two-tone cardstock because our two-tone cardstock is similar in that it's printed on the 2 different sides. So when you tear it, you always tear in the same direction and you expose that core. If you're gonna go back and forth, you're gonna get white on one side and white on the other. So just always tear in the same direction. See how my right hand is always going up? And then you get that torn look right here. So that's the tip I have for you there. This is shoved up in that corner. This is shoved up in that corner, shoved into that corner, and shoved into that corner. There's where all the 4 pieces went. I didn't put adhesive right up to the edge here. I just have it kind of somewhat on the 4 corners so that I could tuck my envelope under here. So this is where my full envelope, cut down a little bit, but I stuck my envelope here, and then I trimmed off the excess. So this envelope piece, there's 2 of them. This one measures 4 3/8. I think I cut it right here. I did. I cut it right at the score line. And that's how I got this piece. And it's tucked under just a little bit. So that's why you see a slightly smaller shape. But you're just going to cut right at that score line, stick it up here so it fits right underneath there, and then trim off the extra in that direction. Then after that, and I'm going to peel this or see if I can peel this up. So these are the photo mats, and I glued them down. I didn't use my temporary adhesive. Oftentimes I'll use my Hermafix transfer adhesive to put my photo mats down, but I guess I was dead set on keeping the photo mats in these areas. But I want to lift this up so you can see. I also have a photo on my blog post, which will go live soon so you can see, but it's kind of a before and after picture showing the, there we go. There's the messiness underneath. But you can see what I did here too. I added a piece of copper foil, right? And the copper foil comes from a collection that you can get, and I don't have a lot of it left. So let me grab that. So from this textured foil pack, let me see here. It is called Textured Metallic. You get kind of a bluish purplish color. You get this really yellow gold, and then you get this copper color. And so I used the copper from it. And I put a little strip behind this edge of the envelope and this edge of the envelope. In the middle here, there's just kind of a little mess, but this photo is covering it up, right? This is an embossed piece of two-tone cardstock. You can see it's two-toned. We have the light and the dark side of Secret C. So I use Secret C cardstock here, and I used the dark side up. I also kept, after I embossed another strip that was 1 inch high, with the So Swirly embossing folder. I stuck a portion of it here and a portion of it here. I don't have any So Swirly in the middle, but you could totally just have a full length of So Swirly embossed strip there. Underneath, another strip of foil. And this foil is slightly bigger because I tucked it underneath. But if you want to, you could make it exactly 1 1/8 and just fit it right in there like a puzzle piece. And that could go right across the whole thing. The reason why I didn't do that is because Rachel, as you just saw, is running out of foil. And I didn't have time to buy more before I wanted to show you this. So that is the reason I kept this section short and this section short. So there's one more peek here, so you can see that. And I have a photo so you can see that on my blog, so you can see the messy underneath part. The photos themselves are 4 by 6, 3 by 4, 3 by 4, and 3 by 4. And they're mounted onto mats that are just a little over a 1/16 of an inch bigger. But if we want to, we can just say 1/8 of an inch, okay? So it's 4 1/8 by 6 1/8, 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, okay? Then I used some scraps to die cut with these fun letters. These are the Alphabet a la Mode dies. And I just took and used whatever. First I did joy, and then I was like, you make me feel joy. Yeah, but you make me feel happy just kind of fills in the space more. So I put happy there. And this is up on dimensionals. This is another scrap edge from the kit. Where'd that piece go? Like something from the punch out pieces. So I just used that to make this little strip here. And I didn't ink up the whole stamp. I just put you make me feel. Cut it into a banner, stuck that on little mini dimensionals. And then I've got my flowers, oopsie, raised up onto dimensionals and with little tiny sequins in the middle. The cluster down here is the large flower. This is the medium and the small. And this cluster has some extra die cut pieces. So I want to introduce you to another set of dies. And those dies are the Abundant Joy dies, okay? We've been using these dies for the last couple kits because every set of Paper Pumpkin exclusive dies for members, for subscribers, they coordinate with 3 kits in a row. So this is coordinated with the October and the November kits, and it also coordinates with the December kit. You have all these little fun pieces here, and that's what I used down here. I didn't use the extra flower, but you could make your flower in all different colors then if you wanted to, instead of just using the flowers from the kit. The upcoming dies that are now available, these are the Beautiful Blooms dies. These are going to coordinate with the January, February, and March kits. All right, you can get them now if you are an active subscriber. You want to make sure you're an active subscriber to get those dies. Oh, and this is the So Swirly embossing folder. Very fun. You can stick 6 inches of your strip in, emboss it, then flip it over and emboss the other 6 inches. So that's the page. I know it was a quick, hurried explanation of what I did there, but that is the page. And now we're going to get to a fun fold. All right, the fun fold. For my YouTube members, we do an extra live every month, and we just did our extra live on the 19th. And we did a fun fold kind of like this, only going this way instead. So when it would fold flat, it would fit into your envelope so that this was the top and this was the bottom. This is now the top. And this is the bottom. So we're giving you, now I'm going to give all my YouTube members, you get 2 different sets of measurements. Yay for you. So we're going to go ahead and make this. I'm going to grab some basic white cardstock, but you could use white willow, you could use whatever, because you're not, a lot of the white isn't really showing, so it doesn't matter. We're going to use our trimmer. And here's my cheat sheet little strip here. We're going to cut 2 strips that are 9 inches, okay? So from here, oops, first I'm gonna cut my, hang on, I'm gonna cut my little pieces that go here, and those are going to measure, and I wanna make sure I'm telling you right, hang on, those are 3/4, so 1, 2, 4, Okay, so 4 and okay, so 3, these are gonna be 5.5 inches tall. Now I'm telling you the measurements. You see how the numbers just kind of come out of my mouth? Now listen to me, don't listen to the ones I just said. Okay, 5.5 inches tall by 3.25. Okay, all right, so we wanna save this for now because we're gonna cut more, we're gonna cut and score more. But then this extra strip here won't work. We need another one. Hang on. From your other piece of cardstock, oh gosh, I just thought of something. We could do it this way instead. Okay, back up. Pretend this wasn't recorded. Here we go. 3.25 this way. So now you can make it out of one sheet. So 3.25 inches this way, and then we can cut our strip from here. And in fact, let's do our scoring first. So I'm gonna bring it over to this side of the trimmer and look at my measurements. And I'm gonna go to the 3/4 inch mark, use my light blade, and I'm gonna score. Then I'm gonna score again. 3/4 inch and another 3/4 inch equals 1.5. So we're bringing it to the 1.5 inch mark, which is right when the colors change on my trimmer. And now I need to flip it around because my measurements don't keep going that way. So I have my 3/4 inch, my 1.5, and now I'm gonna go to 2.25 and 3. And then we're gonna cut. We're gonna cut at 3.25 inches. So those measurements again were 3/4 inch, 1.5, 2.25, 3, and then cut. And now we can take these two pieces and cut them, I'm sorry, this piece, and cut it in half to get 2 pieces. These are gonna become our columns for our tower pillar card. Okay, then from this piece, we need 9 inches and we need them both to be 1 inch tall. So we're just gonna cut off 2 inches. And we're going to make them 9 inches together. So we've got our 2 pieces, because we're gonna score them, so we might as well score them both at the same time. So 2 inches by 9, and we're gonna score these at 1.5, then at 4.25, at 5.75, and again at 8.5. Okay, after we've done that, we're gonna trim that into 2 equal 1 inch strips. Got it all in there, lay it down, and cut. Now we have the top and bottom portion of our card. Okay, now we're gonna fold on all of those creases, and this is where the bone folder again comes in really handy. And Trisha, if you have to leave, I totally get it. We're gonna fold. I get her for an hour, and I love that she's here. Thank you. So I'm folding on all of those score lines, and we're gonna connect these two here. Let's do the same thing to this one. Fold, 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 and fold, and let's press them flat. When you're folding, make sure everything's lining up, okay? Fold. Fold. Okay. Now we're going to use some adhesive, and you could use any strong adhesive here. I'm going to use glue. I'm partial to the glue for this kind of card. So I'm going to bring in my multi-purpose liquid glue. Again, I might switch to my precision tip bottle, but you're just going to put a little bit on that little tab there. You're going to flatten down on the second score line. So here's the first, the second. Flatten it down, keep everything lined up, and press this in place. This is gonna make the top frame or bottom frame of your card. Kind of press it there. Once it's kind of set for a while, press it in this direction. Everything should go back and forth pretty easily so it can go into the envelope. Do the same thing to this side. So let's grab and put the adhesive on the outside of the tab. Press down at the second score line, nice and flat. Fold over, fold over and press. And then make sure it folds in both directions. This is the back. We're just going to position that towards the back, and this is the back. Okay, we have the back. It's going upward for you guys, but it's back for me. So those are the back portions of my frame pieces. Now I'm going to make the towers or the pillars. So we're going to fold these in this way. I want to give a shout out to Sam Kelcott, who is from Mixed Up Crafts. She did a similar card. She didn't do it with the A2 size cards, so I adapted the measurements so that those of us who create with Stampin' Up products can do these cards to fit our envelopes. Same sort of thing. So we folded everything in place. I'm going to press, here's my first score line, here's my second. I'm going to press that down, and I'm going to carefully put a little line of glue here. And this is where you have to be really careful, because if this seeps out, it's going to make it difficult. You don't want to have any excess glue. And then press and hold. Thanks for joining us, Debbie. All right, next, we're going to press it in this direction. And good, everything folds flat in either direction. This is the back. So we're going to leave that facing that way. Do the same thing with this one. Okay, everything's getting creased. Oh, you know what? I messed up already. All right, I'm showing you how to do this if you're going to apply this to any card, and we'll just keep doing this here. But for the kit card, I used kit paper for these two pieces. For this and this, I used my kit card. So I'm going to show you that. Folding on the second score line, pressing it over and holding it down, making sure no glue is seeping out in either direction. You want to be really careful on the gluing. Or you could put just tear and tape or something. Okay. And then we're going to fold it in this direction. And that seam is going to go towards the back. Okay. So when you put this together, if you're doing this with any kind of card material pieces, you're going to glue on this side, right in here. You're going to connect it to the frame piece so that it's centered like that. See how I've centered that on there? You're going to center it. You're going to do this on all four pieces. I'll just do one. After you've centered it, you want to flatten it down. You want to do this soon. Use your grid paper to make sure that nothing is tilted. Do you see how that was tilted? Now I'm bringing it into a square corner. It's looking nice and even now. And then you're going to let that dry. You're going to do that with all of the four sections. You're going to build this up like that, and you can see how you can fold it in either direction, but it's pretty unstable, right? The trick is with these tower pillar cards is you want to add layers. So for your layers, here you go again. This is where I use the kit card base, but this was just basic white cardstock. This is the kit card base folded the same way. For the layers, you're going to take and cut little pieces from your kit to add that stabilization. And now you can see that instead of this being all wobbly and wiggly, it's not. It's way less because you've got these pieces going back and forth. So what I did is I took the kit layer that looks like this one here, and everything comes just so easy to grab from those sheets. So I cut this into first I cut it in half actually. I cut it in half, and then I cut, because then here, I'll just do it. I hate to cut these pieces if I'm not making a full card, but we're gonna do it. So this piece is 5.5 inches tall. You're gonna cut at 2 3/4. It's gonna cut right between those little leaves there. See those leaves here and here? So now you have 2 equal pieces. They fit perfectly, you guys. 2 3/4 inches on both sides. It's amazing. I didn't want them that large, but you could keep them that large. You could totally do that and stamp on both sides. I actually trimmed them down and was playing around with them and ended up kind of, wishing I would have done it differently. But you can see here, this piece is kind of squished together with that one, and I cut some extra out of there. I just wanted to make it shorter. So all together, these 2 layered pieces equal about 1 3/8 inches tall here, just to fit the thank you so much. From this edge to the top of this layer was, I think what I did is I cut them in half. I don't know. I think I cut them in half. Yeah, that's what I did. So I cut it in half, and that's how big this half is. And then I was going to just overlap them, and I'm like, that's a waste of cardstock. So I cut a little piece off. Either way, I just wanted this to be squishier. So overlapping them made them skinnier. And on the back side, I left no layering here on the top and bottom of the section at the top, right? So that you could sign your card. So you could put, you know, happy birthday or love you so much, and then sign it down here or whatever. You could also sign on the inside if you wanted to, but I think it looks better if you can actually flip a card over or open a card up. So I left this blank for that. On the front here is my favorite branch piece, plus the medium-sized flower stuck at the top. And that's how you put together a tower pillar card. So cool, right? Oh, I want to give you the measurements for these layers. So if this is 1 inch tall, all of these layers are going to be 7/8 of an inch tall. So you just cut 7/8 of an inch strip, and then you cut them down to fit. So if this is 2 3/4, you're going to make it 2 5/8. If this is 1 3/4, or I'm sorry, 1 1/2, you're going to make it 1 3/8. So that's the measurements for those little sections. There was a lot to share in this video today. And I apologize. We started out really easy as far as like basic stamping, and I want everyone to be able to know that you can make these projects. You might have to take and replay the video, stop and start, and that sort of thing. Let me show you on my computer kind of a peek photo at what's coming up. So if you become a subscriber to Paper Pumpkin Kits, you can get these kits coming to your mailbox, $27 plus tax. The shipping's included in the price, so it's $27 plus tax in the US. They come straight to your mailbox every month that you choose. You can try it for a month and you can quit. Even though it's called a subscription, you're not committed to a certain amount of time. You can try it for a month if you do the month-to-month subscription. Just try it for a month. If you don't like it, you can stop. But this is a peek at what's coming up in January. This is the January kit. You want to create an active subscription between now and the 10th of January. That's what that means. It's got a little hint here, charming postage stamp details. Here's little pieces that are probably within the kit. It comes in a really pretty box. Okay, so there's that. I also want to show you the dies up close. This is the new set of dies that will coordinate with the January, February, March kit. And then I want to mention that I am part of a group of creatives. We get together, us demonstrators, we get together online and we share creative projects that we only give to our Paper Pumpkin subscribers and our team members, and they get them for free every month. So this is last month's kit and little glimpses of the different projects that were created for our exclusives that we share. You can also purchase these in the tutorials section of my website. So if you go to stampyourartout.com, you can actually access that. I'm going to pull that up really quick. So when you're on stampyourartout.com, sorry about that. Let's get this little tab a little shorter here. You're going to go to shop, go to tutorials, click here on this extra little tab that's sticking out there where my finger is. And then you're going to be led to where you can access any of my tutorials. I have All-Star tutorials in there and I have Paper Pumpkin tutorials in there. These are purchasable for anybody and everybody because we don't want to take subscribers from other demonstrators. We don't want demonstrators to not be able to have our ideas either, so we make them accessible to everybody. And speaking of All-Star tutorials, if you do purchase from me in any select month, you get the All-Star tutorial if your minimum purchase is $50 or more in the US. So that's another way you can get that set of tutorials. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you? There's so much. There's a refill kit. Let's say you didn't get this December kit and you really, really wanted, after seeing some of the projects that are out there, what I shared today and that sort of thing, you can go to the Paper Pumpkin subscription area on the Stampin' Up! Website. Start your subscription, and you can access that by clicking on links below, but you start a subscription and you've activated your account. And now you're able to purchase those past refill kits. So Stampin' Up! Does have past kits available. So if we go back to my website and you click on the shop tab and then you go to all online products, it's going to take you to the storefront, the Stampin' Up! Storefront. You can go over to the menu, which is underneath my head, and you'll scroll down to where it says Paper Pumpkin Subscription. Click on Refills, Past Kits, and whatever it said, add-ons, and you can see here it is. Ta-da! So you can purchase this past refill kit. It does not include the stamps or the ink, but it includes everything else. The adhesive, the sequins, all the consumable parts are in there. So you can just substitute and use your own stamps if you need to. I also have available on my website resources under my Paper Pumpkin tab. If you want to see my recent Paper Pumpkin posts, older Paper Pumpkin posts, everything is in there from March 2013. Any Paper Pumpkin kit that you have in your hands, you can find ideas that I've shared by going to those areas here. You can also go to see what I've been pinning on Pinterest, but there's a stamp set case insert area. If you want to have your stamps organized, you can go there to print off case inserts. And you can learn more, and you can also sign up by clicking on those tabs. There's so much to share in these Paper Pumpkin videos. And Trisha is posting things too. Thank you, Trisha, for posting all of that. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to tell you. I talked about all of that goodness. Looking at my list here. Paper Pumpkin Fan Club. It's a group that I started years ago on Facebook. Please join. It's another great place to see lots of creative inspiration. I do. Yes, Marcia. She asked if I have past Paper Pumpkin kits for sale. You can also find them under my shop tab on my blog. So under shop, go to tutorials, logo items, and more, and go to kits and retired products. I don't have anything but kits there right now, but you can see you can access any past full kits that you might not have been able to access before. Thank you for asking that. And if you want to have fun and be on the demonstrator side of things and get all of this stuff for free from me by being on my team, you can definitely join and get the starter kit. You can also be a part of our fun onstage experience, which is going to happen in March in Long Beach, California. Some people do this. There were a couple friends of mine who got the starter kit just so they could travel and join our group when we went to a convention in the past, and it was so much fun. So totally feel free to join just for, that kind of thing too. But then you're going to find that you're going to have so much fun. You're going to stay for a while. Anyways, my upcoming lives. I do have more lives coming up always. I usually do 2 a week, and I'm trying to stick with that through the holiday season here. We did our live early today on a Tuesday. It's normally on a Wednesday. Next week it will also be on a Tuesday because it's New Year's Eve on a Wednesday. And then the following week it'll be on a Tuesday because we are flying out to California to see our son who moved out there in October. So Tuesday. Today was Tuesday, and then we have 2 more Tuesdays. Also, click on the link that's in the description of the video. That will take you to my calendar so that you can see when my upcoming lives are. I usually do Friday nights also, although that has kind of been not super consistent, but Friday nights and Wednesdays. But the next one that I'm going to have is Saturday at 10 a.m. We're going to be sharing the kits collection. It's a really fun kit that I've had lots of requests for. So we're going to do some alternates with a kits collection kit on Friday at 10 on December 27th. Hope to see you there. Whenever I say a time, it's Central Time, by the way. And then we have the Tuesday, and then we have the Friday. We go back to Fridays again at 7 p.m. on January 2nd and Tuesday, January 6th. So just check out the calendar and see what's coming up. I hope that you all had fun, and thank you again to Trisha for moderating, to all of you for being with me on the live. It's so fun to see your comments roll in, and every once in a while I can catch them and interact with you. It's always wonderful. And then thank you so much to my subscribers to my channel. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. It costs nothing to subscribe. And an extra special thank you to my members. We have a 99-cent member level and a $5.99 member level, and that's where you get the videos. And you just get some extra little perks if you want to monetarily support my channel. I appreciate it. Everybody have a wonderful holiday season. just enjoy the peace and quiet. And if you're going to church, if you're going to, get together with family, enjoy your times with whatever you're going to do. And happy holidays to all of you. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.